What's happening? That's how we do it now. That's how we do it. I got like 5 minutes with y'all. Now I'm trying to walk as slow as possible because I'm already at my destination. So we gonna drag it along. Feel me? We just gonna drag this along. I just finished my video, Waukesha, addiction. You feel me? Nowadays if you didn't notice, I'm taking titles from the content, basically taking it from songs and speaking it from my own point of view. So the last 3 or 4 videos, I've taken the title of songs that I listen to, and I place it as the title itself. If I'm not all of the titles, but most of the titles that I've placed, especially from yesterday and probably the day before, I've taken those titles and I've done the content out of it from that song title itself. You feel me? So I just dropped a video called Waukesha. Feel me? Addiction. You feel me? And that's how I'm doing it. Not There's just one of the many ways I can do it, and I'm using it as one. You feel me? I got so many ways I can take my content. It's just a lot, just a little. You know what I mean? Feel me? People just don't know how to stay in their place. You feel me? There's a lot of people. They gotta know the difference between the street and the sidewalk. But when you on the sidewalk, right, as you can see right here, there are plants that also separate the sidewalk from the garden itself. So you have the garden, then you have the sidewalk, and you have the streets, right? But sometimes, as you can see, these plants are overgrown, they position and coming onto the streets. You feel me? This is when people come and they just trim it so they can know that, yo, there's rules in place where to keep you where you are. People don't know how to stay in their lane. You feel me? Just like these plants, they call them wildflower because they're so wild, they are untamed. They just grow as they want to grow. You feel me? They don't have the intelligence to know that, hey, I'm living among humans now, and humans need a sidewalk to walk on. So sometimes when you go in the forest, you can see there's a pathway that have been carved for people to walk on. If you go to the forest or you go to a garden and everything else like that, they carve a pathway. But sometimes the trees don't know the difference between staying in their own lane and, you feel me, and carving a pathway that's carved for a human. We know not to go into the trees unknowingly where there's a place not carved unless you know where you're going. You feel me? You can be stung by a tree that can cause you some form of, watts on your skin and everything else. It could be some irritation and everything else. So we stay on the path. A righteous person always know when to stay on this path and never deviate when they have, and does not deviate when they have their sight on the goal. You feel me? That's a wise person. But a person who's unwise is like some of these wild flowers and everything else like that. They grow into the path of the sidewalk. If you don't stop them, they go into the side of the tree and they inside of the street, and they can get hit by a car. You feel me? A lot of people do not know how to stay in their lane. You feel me? They are outrageous. When it comes emotionally, they emotionally burst out. You feel me? We're not saying don't have emotion. I'm not telling you not to be a computer. You feel me? Just like a flower, it's a form of energy in motion where it is growing. You feel me? The flower grows. Your emotion is supposed to evolve. You're supposed to express yourself through your emotions and everything else. But do not grow to the point where do not express yourself to the point where it becomes detrimental to you. You cannot make a temporary emotion become a lifetime decision where you end up in prison. You feel me? That's the thing these niggas don't know. They temporarily let it pass. They make a temporary emotion become a lifetime decision where they end up in court. They in jail somewhere because they got mad of something that happened because you temporarily had something that you can even ignore for the moment or let it sit down so you can find the right solution within you. It's a lack of trust within. You feel me? So just like these flowers, sometimes they grow into the soil. You see certain flowers, they grow into the building and start climbing all and climbing all over the buildings and shit like that. You even see some flowers growing out the concrete, as you can see right here. Hold on. You feel me? These shits they growing out the concrete itself. You feel me? These, in a good way, that's a good thing for the flowers and everything else like that. You feel me? But the flowers do not, because they're living in their right mind. They don't know the difference between sidewalk and everything else like that. So you are acting more like an instead of something that can be a he or a she. You're not acting human. You're not separating yourself from the rest of them. And although we are animals, we are a different form of animals. You feel me? We have a way to think. You feel me? We have a form of communication. You feel me? Everything about us is more advanced than any other living thing on earth. You feel me? We are every living thing in one. That's why the best was saved for last. You feel me? God created everything else, and we was created basically on the 6th day, and then a woman came. You feel me? Together we was all created last. So everything else had to be created so God can see the function of all these things work in hand, then create the best specimen out of it all. You feel me? When you building a computer, you don't build the computer first before you build the parts. You build each part. When the computer first built it, each part was built. You feel me? As time went on, it became the computer itself. You feel me? There's still no computer on earth that can be us. It's just a simulation of what we can do. You feel me? Everything else is a part. It's a components to what we are. Plants, bees, animals, the soil, everything that you see is a component of what the human being already is. The water, the air, breath itself. These are all components to help us be who we already are. You feel me? Let me talk to them. You feel me? So it's like everything else was made in that process. So when it comes to an individual like yourself, you have to see yourself in that regard. A lot of people do not know how to control their emotions. You feel me? Simple emotions. You don't know how to stay in your lane. You feel me? They act out of rage. They go into this lane. They come back into this lane. Outrageous drivers. You feel me? Because they don't know how to control their emotion. They don't have no control of their emotion, but yet want to control somebody like myself and others. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to know how to control yourself first. Get contained of your emotions first. Know how that shit works first before you go out there trying to talk down upon somebody else. You see, I'm still learning. Feel me? It's hard learning about yourself sometimes, especially when you have so much influence and so much noise coming in. You feel me? We have it harder than everything else because we are in tune with everything else. You feel me? So it's very hard for us to even get into that state of being, for us to be that self that we want to be. So you don't have no time to play. You feel me? You don't have no time to play. So why are you wasting your time getting out of your lane? Look at these rocks. Look at how beautifully it's designed. You feel me? And then you come to the sidewalk. Feel me? They've been designed to have their own lane. It's part of the design. Everything else have its lane. You have the hard cement to walk on. Then you have the soil itself. Then a little further down you have the plants itself. Everything has its lane and everything stays in its lane. And they've hired people to cut these grasses to make sure that these things are in their lane. They're also doing their job and everything else like that. Feel me? People do not know how to stay in their lane. Feel me? They just get out their lane. This is how hate come in. That's when the plants start hating on the sidewalk. Cause he feel like, man, this shit is like, fuck out of here. We're not in the ecosystem. Feel me? This is I'm not gonna be working with the crew. Anything that does not work with the crew dies out. You feel me? You have to be able to function with the crew itself. You feel me? Because a lot of niggas just don't know how to stay in their lane. Because of jealousy. You feel me? They be too jealous. You feel me? They're just too jealous. That's why they be hating on me. They always gotta hate on me. Why? Because they don't know how to stay in their lane. They just don't know how to stay in their lane. You feel me? People gotta learn how to stay in your lane. Learn how to stay in your lane. You feel me? Just learn how to do that. That's all I'm asking. Feel me? We ain't asking for too much. Am I? Hold on, how many more minutes I got? I got like, I give you 5 minutes, feel me? Maybe, I always say 5, then 10 come along and everything else like that. But people do not know how to, in my favorite booth, feel me? They even got a lane for smokers. They created a small booth to make you feel comfortable when you smoke. That's a lane itself. People don't know how to stay in their lane. They don't know what their lane is, just like that plant. You feel me? The plant does not know what his lane is. It believes that, it's not being cooperative. So it's growing out the concrete and everything else. It is bearing upon the sidewalk and everything else like that. And it's up to you as an individual. Remember, you are a human being. So which meaning you are the plant, you are the sidewalk, and you are that person that comes around and cut the edges so you can put everything in its place. You feel me? And that sample is your emotion. If you don't know how to control your emotion as a human being, then you are no better than a plant that's growing out the concrete, not knowing that you have to stay in your lane when it comes to your emotion. Learn how to control your emotion. You can't act erratic. And you cannot be that individual that always bursts out. You feel me? Some people have they burst out and people have put them in their place. But instead of showing some kind of compassion or comprehending that moment as a lesson, they've learned how to hold the emotion in. You feel me? And attack you privately or attack you behind your back cowardly. You feel me? That's not controlling your emotion. You feel me? Controlling your emotion is understanding why do I get mad like that? You feel me? The question that I had to ask myself when I was growing up. What is it that makes you so mad? Why do you act so erratic? You feel me? This is a question that I had to ask myself. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? What's wrong with you? Feel me? What is it? What is it? Why? Are you scared of life itself? You feel me? Are you concerned? I mean, these are all legitimate questions. You feel me? But you don't have to act out erratic and act rash out on other people because you are scared to deal with whatever's going on inside of you. When you see somebody acting out like that, that's something that has to do with them. It has nothing to do with the individual themselves. It has nothing to do with the victim. It has more to do with that person themselves. They lashing out. They are lashing out of their place to come onto the sidewalk because they don't know themselves. You feel me? They don't know how to stay in their lane. They don't know how to control their lane. They don't even know how to grow up right. Literally like a plant. Like, no, you just grow up right. Like, grow towards what is already feeding you. That sunlight itself. Grow up right. Now, they're growing all over the place. They're leaning this way. And like they nosy, mad nosy, go all the way into the street and shit. Like, you feel me? In everybody else's business. You feel me? They can't even control their own emotions. They can't control their own emotions. They in everybody's business. Look at the socks he got on. You feel me? Like they like to talk about everything you do. You feel me? Like they get so they go so far. They go so far in on checking that emotion that they get. That's when they lead into the violence acts and everything else like that. Feel me? They just lead into poking holes in your tie and everything else like that, and just trying to destroy your property. Some narcissistical traits. You feel me? They just do it like it's crazy, man. You feel me? All cause they don't know how. They probably don't know how to. That's why therapy is very important. I advise people to go to therapy. If I had a choice, I'd go to therapy myself. You feel me? I definitely go. But in my situation, I love to go to therapy, but it wouldn't be private. Because it's like when I went to therapy a long time ago, I was talking to the therapist and everything else like that, but everybody else was listening, just like everybody else listening to my conversation right now. So it's not really a private moment. So that's why I use this form of way as a therapeutical. So I had to be very, very honest with myself, like a therapist would be, through the process and everything else like that, because my life is unreal. You feel me? Because when I went to therapy, I was speaking to the lady and everything. You could tell she's like, it's like, I'm talking to her. She's taking it in. She's writing, and everything else like that. But it's like there's people at the door, nosy motherfuckers. It's like we was all in the same situation. That's around the time when I was I was in a homeless shelter and everything else like that, and I went to the therapist and everything, and they wanted to talk to me. You feel me? So I'm talking to the lady, being very, very honest and everything else like that, and there's just people very nosy. It's like they hate themselves too, because I'm in the spotlight. So everybody else that was homeless at that time just couldn't deal with their own emotion. They couldn't deal with the fact that they were in that position themselves. So the fact that I'm in the spotlight and people who feel like they were better than me was looking down upon me because of the situation where I'm at or the current place in my life where I was, they hated me more. And I'm like, damn, nigga, y'all supposed to be fighting with me. Like, we supposed to at least work together to come out of this. You feel me? Even when you come out the homeless shelter, 5 years later, you still kind of in it because it's like you got to build up a consistent behavior of saving and consistent behavior of staying afloat to come out of it. You feel me? It's very hard to. A lot of people just don't understand that. They think, oh, a year later, you good. Oh, I used to be in a homeless shelter a year ago. Nah, there's people that still don't get the message and return back to the same spot. Because people in their lifetime sometimes become homeless like 3 times. You feel me? Because it's like you have to rebuild the behavior itself. Just like that plant itself, you got to keep shaping that emotion. so it doesn't come back onto the sidewalk itself. Because it's like, if all it knows how to do is lean into the sidewalk and grow into the sidewalk, it has formed an emotion of going that pathway. So guess what happens? Hold on, let me see my time, because when I said 5 minutes, it was 5 minutes ago. But let's go. Guess what happened when you form? If you create a consistent emotion of going a same place, guess what? Your emotion is going to go that place. You've created a pathway to constantly keep going in that direction, constantly going that direction, constantly leaning in that direction. So when you come out of such a place like that, when you come out of a life-changing experience, what you need to do is basically form another behavior where you constantly on the right path, so you can lean towards that path. You can lean just like that plant itself that is off its path and is going to the sidewalk. It needs to be brought back into that consistently. You have to consistently into the plant itself. Even the plant lands after a while. Feel me? So everything works the same way. You feel me? A lot of people just don't know these things. Like, they just, it's just a bunch of group of people that they just be hating. That's all they know how to do is hate. Feel me? They've been doing that for so long that they pass that kind of knowledge on to their kids, and their kids grow up as haters. And you have a generation of monsters that's hating. You feel me? And it's like, it's sad, but they don't see it. The problem is always outward. They always blaming somebody else for their problems and everything else. And I'm like, if you point the finger at somebody else for your own problem, I don't even do that. And I have all the excuses in the world. You feel me? Everybody know. But they always tell me, don't blame nobody. You gotta try. You feel me? You gotta try. You feel me? The reason why I know them so well, because I used to be them. I used to be that kind of hater too. You feel me? Because I always wanted to blame somebody else for my shit. Even though I had all the excuses in the world, I wanted to blame somebody else for my shit. But now I know, like, yo, you see how I'm moving and everything else like that. You feel me? Even though, you just gotta be careful, man. That's all, man. You feel me? Like that plant, make sure you, let me get out of here. These people trying to kill you and shit. They got security guards watching you. Then they got somebody hiding in the car trying to put something in your mouth. Da da da. I mean, they always trying to poison you and shit. All cause they hurt. Their feelings is hurt. So instead of dealing with their feelings and be like, why does this man triggers me like that? Instead of taking care of the problem of being triggered, they rather kill you just to take care of that problem of being triggered. You feel me? And just like that plant, they'll keep doing it and growing to the sidewalk until they hurt themselves, because they don't know how to control their own emotion. You can't control me if you can't control your emotion. I will always win with my words. You feel me? I will always win with my words. You feel me? There's people out there who are so bitter that they'll talk bad about you in secrecy, but you the one that's basically helping them out and everything else like that, because they can't control their emotions. You feel me? You the one that's shaping them back and putting them up on the what is it called, instead of getting on the sidewalk and everything else like that. But they'll still talk bad about you because they haven't taken the time out to deal with their emotion. It be like that, man. You feel me? They're like that plant that's trying to grow out the rock and does not know their spot. They just don't know their place yet. But I'm about to go in, feel me? Because I could tell that somebody's there, some people's there. Feel me? When you insecure, you hold on to a lot of things. You ain't got no choice. That's all you got. But anyway, I'm gonna go in, man.